Listen, so last Thursday, remember when we were talking about Christianity and Islam? And I used this slide, and I used this slide as a way to talk about how people who are really radical like this become representatives of their particular groups, whatever that group is, right? So the radicals of the Republican Party, or the radicals in the military, or the radicals, whoever the kind of the bad seeds are, let's say, the bad seeds in the police. When police engage in misconduct, there's 1 million police officers in the United States and sworn law enforcement officers, and the vast majority of the time, the vast majority of them are doing their job. But some bad seeds really make everybody look a certain way. Well, that's like these folks in Islam. And there's 1.8 billion Muslims, and they become the representatives. So I put a slide up, and it wasn't this slide, but it was a slide like this. And in doing so, I just lost track of time and didn't realize two things. First off, that you don't know, most of you have no idea who these people are. For a hot minute, for about 20 years, they were kind of a mainstay, 15 years maybe, here in the United States as radical Christians who took it upon themselves to protest against the secular United States, and took it upon themselves to show the rest of us, or tell the rest of us, that we're all going to hell. Now, what they became known as, the group, that they owned a website called www.godhates and then theFslur.com, okay? And because they first started attacking everything related to homosexuality. And that's what they just became known by. And so they came here to the United States, or to Penn State, several times. They were protesting outside of Thomas Building once. And then members of the queer community would respond back at them with signs that looked like those signs, and then doing an opposite protest. But the other day, when Nitty put a photo up that wasn't this one, but it was very much like it, I assumed that one of those signs said, God hates, and then the F-slur, right? Against gay men, because that's just what they're absolutely known by. And back in the day, here at Penn State, that's just how we did it. I've done a couple classes on that in here. In fact, we just talked about that. It just was. And we also, back in the day, pretty openly, and as part of the queer community and everybody else, especially associated with these folks, used the slur. So the other day, we put that up, and I just looked quickly, and I assumed the sign was up there that said that, and it wasn't. And so I just said, God hates and the F-slur, assuming that you all are reading it, and you weren't. And a couple people were really surprised by that I would say that, and that what are you saying that for? Like, where'd that come from? Number one, that I used a slur because we've now reached a point, it's like with the N-bomb, that you don't say it under any conditions. So if you're kind of not aware of that, understand that, it's achieving a space equal to the N-bomb, the N-word, okay? Anyway, so people were really surprised that I said that. And I wouldn't have said it. I just said it because I just jumped back into it. I haven't said the word in a long time in this classroom, or publicly at all, and I don't use the word. But but it was really out of context, and it really shocked a lot of people. So, yesterday, for the first time, Jeff and I was looking at the video. We were looking at the video, and I realized that wasn't even on the sign. They didn't even use the word on the sign. And so I was really mortified, right? So, I want to apologize for that, like saying it just out of the blue. And I was really pretty, I felt bad. So I feel bad, or I felt some kind of way about that. So anyway, I want to apologize for that. I don't want to apologize for these folks. And I want to show you that one of the things that they're known for is protesting the funerals of soldiers who died in combat. This is how radical they are. And the reason is because the military came to accept different levels of sexuality that is not pure heterosexuality. And so they were like, look, thank God for dead soldiers. And their idea is the more soldiers die, the closer we will get to to Jesus coming back to earth. I mean, these are pretty radical folks. But in any case, people on the other side of the planet, they don't know that these people are completely fringe. And that's what happens. And that's what happens like with these folks. If you're not paying attention, you don't know that they're completely fringe. So anyway, I wanted to go back to that and say something to that. Okay, so let's do the quiz. Hey, so listen, are we good? Hey, I think we're good today. I definitely would like to, it's a really sensitive class today, so I want stay really, just stay, it's kind of, it's a raw class. I would say it's raw, and our 4 volunteers are really taking some risks today, so I will say that. Yo, guys leaving. You can't make sure you give us your name if you're leaving, okay? In fact, you're not getting credit for the quiz today. Just want you to know that. You can't take the quiz and get up and leave. Like, dude, would you do that? You wouldn't do that. I would do that. I wouldn't do that. Dude, are you ready? Are we good? Yeah. You can have a seat now. Hey, man. Hey, so let's go to the next. All right, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. So y'all remember? What? Can I introduce you? KJ and Yaz, you remember from Yaz last week, right? Or KJ and Yaz a couple weeks ago? Yeah. First week?
First week of class.
Yeah. Well, you got good reviews from people my age, old people. So you're all good. So, but the reason I wanted to bring KJ back up but I was talking to both of you the other day, and this is like I don't know how, it's a really sensitive topic that we're doing today, okay? So I felt like, let's bring Yaz up so you're both up here, and we're going to walk into something that's a little sensitive, all right? Not super sensitive, but all right. But I think I want you to know that I'm really, as we move forward in today's class, that's your question, by the way. You remember asking me that question? Yeah, you remember that? I was standing here, and the moment you asked me that question, I said, oh, that's going to be a class title. We're going to come back. And so the issue, can you go to the next slide? So I want to frame today's class and how we respond to this question around freedom and determinism, okay? So free will, and I kind of talked about it last class, that, hey, by the way, I want to say something really fast. So put your laptops down, first off. This is actually this is a sensitive class today. So KJ and Yaz are taking risks, and we're going to get really personal today. And we're going to get personal with our next two volunteers also. And so what I want to... Dude, the dude with the phone in front of your face, you got to put your phone down, dude, okay? So now I'm talking to everybody. This is really sensitive. So I'm going to ask them to talk about some personal things, and what your job is to listen, to hold the conversation today, okay? It's not put your phone up in front of your face and play video games or whatever. It's like to hold the conversation. And, okay, so we think about free will and determinism. The idea, this is so essential, and I know I keep coming back to this, but I literally could talk about this for the entire semester and talk about nothing else, because everything that we think about causality and what is and is not the cause of human behavior, it's either some sort of internal motivation or it's shaped by things outside of our control, outside of us, okay? And they're always fused at some level. They're always in play, but it's like it's kind of going this way, leaning a little bit this way, or a little bit this way, but it's never 50-50. That it's like, oh, the reason, for example, I became a college professor is because I chose to, all the way down here. Of course, it's not that. There were factors and forces completely out of my control, and I had no choice in the matter. No, it's not that either. It just is back and forth. Some things were in play, okay? So, going back to the question, do you think I'm weak? If you remember, the conversation was around your hair, okay? And from within the perspective of our culture and the way people think about it, if you're free, if we are free, and in this culture, people, unless you're a sociologist and you're always thinking about constraints, okay, then people live in this world of thinking that we're free. And it's okay, when I'm making decisions, and if I make a bad decision, it's my fault, and if I make a good decision, it's my fault. Everything is up there, right? And if we can't do those things, then obviously we're weak, okay? You said, when I look in a mirror and I see my natural hair, I don't like what I see. I'm not happy, right? So then you ask me, do you think I'm weak? And I realized I should have just come next to you and said, do you think you're weak? So I'm asking you. So you look in a mirror and you're not really happy with your hair and what you see, and not just because it's a bad hair day or something. That's not what I got from what you said, right? And so, do you think you're weak?
Well, you kind of asked me something after that too, because you were
Uh-huh.
like, what'd you say? So,
Yeah, you might have, but I want to stay with this right here.
okay. I'm sorry.
So the hair, right? You look in a mirror
Yeah.
and you feel some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're weak.
Not anymore. No, I don't think so. I think when I was younger, I definitely didn't like my natural hair and stuff. And I didn't like to wear it, and I wanted to wear it straight and all the time. But as I've gotten older, I've started to like it more. I'm kind of wearing it today. But like, I don't know. I don't feel weak anymore, but I definitely probably when I was younger, yeah.
Well, okay, well, hang on though. Okay, so now I'm gonna go a little. I'm gonna push back a little bit. Not push back, but I want to clarify. So weakness is the scale, right? You're on the fulcrum. You're never like entirely weak or not weak at all, right? So when you say not anymore, let me just ask you. So when is it that you feel more weak? When you look in a mirror today and are like, yeah, when it like go a little deeper into that. So you say not anymore. By saying not anymore, that means I look in a mirror and I love every aspect of my. Okay.
I probably don't feel 100% like that. And I think, one reason I don't feel 100% like that is because sometimes I feel like I can't experiment with my hair too much. I don't like to experiment much, but when I do this, it's good. I know it's going to be good. But like it's natural state when it's like all short and frizzy, like I don't know how to really make it look good like that. So that's also why I feel like I don't want to wear it like that. But
So there are things associated with that. Hey, okay, yes. Let me ask you. When I ask her that question, right? What do you hear? Like, how does that resonate with you? And by the way, the reason you're up here, the main reason you're up here, is because I just felt like this would be a better conversation with you up here. It's a double dose of cool. So how does that resonate with you?
So I'm gonna keep it $150 with you. $150. I had a lot of things in my life that made me think I was weak. The first thing that came about was my hair, because my mother didn't really know how to take care of her hair that well. So whenever she would do my hair, quote unquote, she would basically just get a permit, let that thing burn for a good 30 minutes, and then wash it out. And then some of it would stay in my hair and it would damage it to a point where I was like, I don't even want to wear my hair like this anymore. Like, it just seems like terrible damage. It doesn't seem like me. I just felt insecure. And I don't want to say my insecurity was my weakness, but at that time, I felt that insecurity was weakness. To me, insecurity, after a while, I've realized that it became my strength. Like, yes, I'm insecure about my hair. However, I know that it's mine. I know how to take care of it now. I know what can be styled in it now. I understand it more towards my personality. It's no longer having to be prohibited towards the standard of straight hair, the bob, a bang, and like probably like 2 or 3 streaks of like extensions. Because that's like mostly what was like broadcasted to me as a child, especially with Make Up Mermaids. I wanted to be a mermaid so bad, but I couldn't be a mermaid because I was like, I don't see anybody with my hair type on there, so it couldn't be the same. And you know, they did the little aerial flip with the whoosh, you know, with the and when I saw Halle Bailey hit that, she looked good, and she ate that, and I was like, you know what? That made me embrace my hair even more, because I was like, you know what? I can take my little non-swimming ass into the ocean right now, flip my hair up, and sing "Part of Your World" out of nowhere and feel happy about it. I felt happy about something. That made me feel represented. That made me feel like I was seen. So after a while, I started to realize my weakness is not my weakness. It is my insecurity. And my insecurity is no longer my insecurity of weakness, but it is my strength.
You turn it into a strength. Dude, awesome. I like that. Hey, so you resonated with the Halle Berry piece? You resonated with the Little Mermaid piece?
yeah, I really like the new Little Mermaid.
So can you explain to people why for young black and brown girls, why that's important. Because if we don't hear, we don't really understand. Why is it important why was it important for you? Like when you're just seeing Little Mermaid or Cinderella or whatever, and they're always white, 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 and then suddenly, whoa, there's one that's not. If you're not black or brown, if you're not in that, you don't really understand how powerful that is or why it matters. Can you just help explain what that meant for you? Like why?
I just think like you said, for a long time, like Disney princesses have only been like white, 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 and then they had the Indian princess, and then they had Mulan, and then the only I don't want to say I'm complaining, but like the only African American princess they had, she was a frog for 70% of the movie. So brown, like African American people, we didn't really get like that much representation, but it's okay. Like I still love those movies. Like the Little Mermaid, the original one, that's my favorite one. I like that movie.
The original
The
one.
original one.
With the white Ariel?
With the white Ariel, yeah.
Yeah. Why
But
is that
like
your favorite?
I don't know, it's like one of my classics. It was like the first one I've ever seen.
Oh, so it's one of your first. So
Yeah.
when did you first notice, though, that the little girls, because it has changed, right? Just in the past 15 years or so, since you were young, man, you've like grown up in a different world. Go back 15 years before that, it's like nothing at all. Like there's no representation, right?
And I think with the new Ariel of her being black, and especially with her having like long locks, it's important. Like that's a whole side of our community that we see all the time, but we don't see in like a positive big screen role. Like we might see people like we mostly see like negative in our community. We don't often see like the positive. To see a black girl with locks swimming in the ocean, like.
So when you saw that, how old were you when you first realized, wow, I don't see people that look like me? I'm not seeing people that look like me. How old were the two of you? What do you remember?
I think I was like,
When you first had the realization?
I feel like sometime in middle school, like not like 6th grade, I think probably, because then I started watching like Netflix and stuff, and that had more black and brown people.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't gonna lie to you, I grew up in a very large like Latinx or like Hispanic population, so I realized at like a very young age that people were different from me, but they were still black and brown, to a point where like sometimes you would see a person who was Hispanic, but they looked my shade. When I was younger, I would think they were black, so I would just go up to them and be like, hi, how are you? But then they would start speaking Spanish to me, and I would just be like confused. Like as a child, you don't realize that shade doesn't necessarily mean race.
Yeah.
So whenever
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see somebody of your comfort in front of you, you automatically are going to like gravitate towards that. So that was my thing. Like I didn't live in like a population of strictly like white people, strictly like all that stuff, but the stereotypical like beauty standard was still there.
So, okay, so I want to go back to this thing. If I wasn't doing the work that I do and having so many conversations with young people, black, brown, white, all backgrounds, whatever, right? I mean, this conversation we're having today, this is not my first time, you know what I mean? You got it. So, but the issue is, if I wasn't, I just would not understand why black people, Asian people, Arab people, Latino people, why they make such a big deal over these things. Like an Ariel in The Little Mermaid who's not white. Like, why do they make it such a big deal? And so I think what you're pointing to is, but it's a big deal for little kids. And a lot of times, white in the dominant group here, white has become the dominant because numerically and so on and so forth, right? And again, that's you all. It's changing in your generation that you see representation by black and brown people. But man, that is just by people in the queer community. Everywhere you turn, somebody's gay, and people think that, whoa, there's so many gay people in the United States. When you ask Americans, if we ask Americans, write down the percentage of Americans who are gay, okay? And then we averaged that number out. So if I ask 700, 800 Americans, like, what do you think the percentage is that the average would be? Yeah, in the U.S. The people think, like if we ask students in this class, but imagine they were a cross-section of the American population, and they say, hey, everyone, write down on a piece of paper what percentage of the United States is gay or lesbian or bi or trans, okay? Yeah, and they, on the spectrum, right? And they wrote that number down. Then we took them all and we averaged them out. What would that average number be? What do you think?
It's definitely over 50.
You think? Okay,
You think people would think it's like 50?
Because like you have to think about it like this. There are people out there who are out and proud with their homosexuality, with their transgenders, like not personality, but their transgender identity. But there are so many people who are on the DL or people who are literally in hiding because they're fearful of what people can and cannot do to them when they're like out and
Okay,
proud.
but you think that Americans would think it's like half the population is gay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I was just gonna say 40.
Dude, it's 30. It's still loud. It's
Damn,
still
really?
high, man. The number of people who are gay is like, what, if we add all those up, everything up, right? And we put bisexual and transsexual and whatever, pansexual and like one after another, right? Especially when you add things like pan in. Okay, especially now because more and more people are identifying with something. So it's higher, but basically in any population, about 3.5% of the population is gay. Like 3.5. But because of representation, so many actors and so many commercials and this and that, people think it's so high. So 50% is actually not that far off. It's 30, but whatever.
The thing is, though, let's be honest with ourselves here. The people who are representing the queer individuals in these TV shows are married to people of the opposite sex. People like Arizona Robbins, heterosexual. People from the L Word, heterosexuals. A lot of the people who you are assigning with being gay or traumatizing your kids with the gay disease are not gay themselves. They're living happy heterosexual lives with 10 to 13 kids in the fucking womb. They're fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus H. Christ.
You can say that. I can't say that. Let me go with it. I'm going to go in a different direction here, okay? I want to show you. We're going to go back to hair, okay? Well, we're talking representation. Yeah, we were. Okay, let me find this. Because it matters that people, what I'm hearing from the two of you, is it matters for little kids to see people that represent them and they feel something.
I think it just kind of like boosts like morale of the younger kids.
Keep going.
I don't know. It boosts morale about like like younger kids with like, okay, what's it called? I think one of the problems is, that's what I was thinking about like the whole time, like when you're talking about The Little Mermaid, the problem is like that I seen on the internet, not saying anyone ever here did that, but they were saying, oh, why is she black? Like, why can't they just keep it the same? Just do that. Like, why does she have to be black? You're forcing race on us. Like, why can't she be black? Like, just, it's a fictional character. Just YOLO. Like, you can't try something different one day. Like, everything doesn't have to stay the same.
Yeah.
And also, once again, it boosts morale in, like, the black community. Can we have this one? Like, we're not erasing white people. There's white people everywhere, and there's going to be white people forever. Like, can we just have, like, 1 minute?
And you're still,
That kills me.
and you're saying
Is that crazy?
And even the first Ariel, the first one is still your favorite.
Yeah, okay, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, like, the first one is better than the one that right now, respectfully. Like, all shout outs to Haley Bailey, because she did her thing, and she did that, but like, the original one is better. I don't know, the way they did Under the Sea in the second one, I didn't like it. I did not like it.
Thanks for being honest. Hey, I want to just show you. I want to go back to hair for a second. Hey, by the way, someone asked a question on the stream. Why are we talking about hair? Why are we talking about hair and not Karl Marx?
Karl
Marx.
Marx. Do you
Dude,
really want to
Karl
go there
Marx-
with me?
Karl Marx had some radical hair, man.
All I'm going to say is this.
All right, here we go.
I didn't want to be the
I wanna
only
show
person
you-
y'all
I just
hate.
want to show the two of you this, okay? And I want to show the class. I mentioned this when you were up here, KJ, but before 2014, in the U.S. military, these were all unauthorized styles. Like women in the military, they can't wear two-strand twists, which is both of you know, that's very common. dreadlocks and afros. Like you can't wear just afro. You got it. Like you can't wear that in the military. So if you're a black woman and you join the military, you can go off and die for your country, but your hair's got to be like all worn in the way it can't be worn natural. So you got to be unnatural, but you can still die for your country, right? So this is when I think about hair. When we first started this conversation, well, this is we're still dealing with this, right? And I just want to do one more thing. I want to show you something, by the way. So we talked about this is like the guy who did this is Oprah Winfrey's hairdresser. Andre Walker was his name. He's the one that came up with these, and so. But I want to show you this, right? So this is clearly 4C is the most. Look at it, just comes together that way. My brother probably had like 3B, if I had to guess. Okay, I want to show you a photo of my brother. That's him right there.
He ate that. He ate that. He ate that. You ever
Dude, that's
seen
his
like
hair, dog.
You ever seen that Michael Jackson movie?
Yeah.
And they were like in those little short shorts and that damn crop top.
Yeah.
That's what he giving. And he ate that.
Dude, come on, man. That was 1976.
Baby, he can get racially ambiguous if he tried.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. Yeah, he was. His name was Joe. He went to a school that was like 60% black, and they call him Afro Joe.
My brother,
Yeah,
my
that's
brother
really-
and fro.
Yo, he had a pick. He picked his hair out all the time, man. Dude, is that awesome?
You roller skate? Do you
He
still?
did not roller skate, no.
Damn.
No. But the idea being that you couldn't wear hair, he went in the military, he had to cut it all off, right? So, can't wear his
All
hair
that
natural.
hard work
you would
undone
have-
by the government. Ain't that something?
Ain't that?
It's like a repeated record, ain't it?
Dude. So the point being, and then we're going to finish this on the following idea. The point being, if we go back to this, the military here, it's really pretty profound that in this nation, that black women and black men can't wear hair. It's a little different with men because he just gets shaved off, right? But you can't wear hair natural. You know what I mean? You can go die in battle, you can kill people in battle, but you can't wear your hair natural. And this is like why this has been such an issue and how far we've come, right? We've really come a long way, and yet we still have a long way to go. Final statement, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? Perfection, right?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
You see perfection?
Thank you. Yeah.
You know when like Viola Davis,
I know that help, but like.
it was like you was smart, and I don't know why they have to always say a black woman in the South has to
You
say
is
is.
smart, you
Baby,
is
they use
kind,
proper grammar.
You
Trust
is
me.
perfect.
Yeah.
You is perfect. You is smart.
You is smart. You is kind.
All right, well, you is perfect.
No. Samuel.
You are perfect.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, awesome, man. Hey, thanks for the conversation. Thanks for going here, right? Like, it's really cool. It matters. And you know who it matters to, really? People, no, not them. They don't care, right? No.
You know what that means, y'all.
Wait, it matters to this guy, right?
Those,
Does it matter to
those
you guys?
little evaluations
Look
coming
at
up.
this guy's hair.
He said y'all don't matter.
Dude, look at that guy's hair. Listen, man. Remember the hair guy? Hey, put yellow on, by the way. He's Egyptian, man. EG, catch our Egyptian guy. Yeah, you got him. Put yellow on the screen. Hey, anyway, the point being, there we go. Dude, the point being, it matters. It matters that people just hear voices and why we do these things.
Not hear voices, but hear voices.
Really hear it, man.
Like, not hear voices, but hear voices,
Yeah.
please. Different
Dude.
perspectives.
Thanks.
I just want to say one more thing. Guys, y'all see that, right? Like, they won't allow people who are dying to serve this rat nest of a country to wear their hair the way that they want. After everything y'all want to say that there is change, that has literally happened 10 years ago. And even then, it might have been less than 10 years ago because this year just started. Listen to people of color and marginalized groups when they tell you change has not happened yet. It is only beginning. It is never stopping. You always have to keep moving it along. Please do not stop helping people.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Dude. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, thanks, y'all. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hey, I think what Yaz just said about change is I like that, by the way. Okay, all right. Can we go one more? Or go one more? Oh, hey, by the way, I just wanted to do this in honor of you. You're from Texas. This just came out today that the Texas governor just actually the Texas Supreme Court declared that people in Texas can't wear their hair at the length that they want to wear it. They can't wear their hair as long as they want to wear it because of that guy right there who wanted to wear locks and didn't want to cut his hair because that's part of his cultural and religious background. And so they're like, no, you can't do that. Like, you got to cut your hair. And so the Texas Supreme Court demanded that people cut their hair. So just came out. Can you go one more? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, dude, don't ever play. Okay, gentlemen, let's start with you. Yeah, just intro. Where are you from? Your name?
Yeah. My name is Akshay. I'm a junior finance major at Penn State, and I'm from Collegeville, Pennsylvania, so like right outside of Philly.
And you used to live in New Jersey, right? Didn't you?
No, I grew up in Jersey, but I live in PA since like middle school.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Hi, hi. I'm Blake. I'm from Pittsburgh, and
Dude,
that's all I got.
Dude. All right, man. So listen, with the two of you, I want to go back to we're moving. We're going in a very different direction. We're still talking about the question at play: am I weak? Okay, and we're going to explore the sociology of am I weak, but we're going in a different direction. And both of you have disabilities. And what I'd like to do is talk about your relationships to your disabilities. Okay, so maybe you'd say like. We'll start with you. So Blake, you have a stutter, and so the first question, I guess here's my first question, just a kind of a one-off question. Do you remember the first person who was not in your family who did not pick up or who heard your stutter, but treated you or interacted with you as though it was just whatever, who didn't pay attention to it, didn't point it out, didn't anything? Do you have a memory of that by chance? This is just out of curiosity.
You mean like they just kind of ignored it?
Yeah.
Or I feel like most people do, just out of respect. Probably, I mean, whenever I was young, I mean, I would have my classmates ask me questions about it because they were young too, and they didn't really know any better. But I don't really think I was ever just ignored about it. I mean, I've had people not know what was going on. Like I was ordering a sub last week at the East, I forget what it's called, the sub place. And or no, this is last year, sorry. And I was trying to say Chipotle mayo, which is just the worst word ever. And the lady behind the the I don't know the counter was like, oh, you had to think about that one, huh? I was like, no, I just sorry, like I don't know what to tell you there.
Mhm.
I don't know. I've never really been like kind of disregarded though.
Just like not seeing it.
Yeah.
Actually, how about you? Do you have a memory of like little kids, like a first kid who didn't pay attention, just like saw you and didn't notice and didn't?
When it comes to the idea of not noticing, I think people definitely notice, but I think getting older and coming of age, people stop asking questions, and I think that's like one of the most beautiful things about being a kid is like the just blissful ignorance and the idea that you can sort of ask anyone anything without thinking about repercussions.
Mhm.
So I'd say as a kid, I definitely got asked a lot more questions than I do now. I think people that I meet now for the first time will sort of just process it and then not ask any questions, which I honestly prefer. I'm not like afraid of answering any questions, but I would say more so in childhood, you'll get like just, oh, like what happened to you? Like, were you born like that? Questions like that.
Yeah, just like really authentic. Like the question is authentic.
Right.
Right. When it's it's like the like a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. You're just gonna get it, man. There's no judgment either. So what are things that people say that feel most uncomfortable for you?
That's a good question. I would say things that feel uncomfortable. Sorry. I would say I'm like relatively desensitized towards things that I would say made me feel uncomfortable in terms of words. Sometimes maybe in terms of actions, like the idea of when you shake hands with someone, I've had people like be caught off guard and they visibly show it. And that's always just a little bit awkward. But in terms of words, typically I've been fortunate enough to not.
Okay,
deal
well,
with maybe any.
how about visually showing it though? Like, so they go in with the right hand shake.
Right.
Do they then stop and go to a left hand shake?
Right, I've had that before. I've had people maybe take a step back, or I've had people like visibly show like they weren't expecting it, which naturally, like you can't blame anybody for feeling that way, but it does create, I would say, some level of discomfort.
And do you, creates a level of discomfort. Huh. What do you do with that? Like, wait, discomfort with you or with them?
I'd say with me, I just feel like in those types of moments, I'm like, oh, I wish it wasn't this way. Because it's something as simple as shaking hands with someone, something you do almost every time you meet someone new. So it's pretty frequent interaction.
Yep.
But it's something I've just gotten used to, and you sort of just have to take
So
it.
do you shake hands? Do you like to shake? Do you initiate it?
Sometimes, yeah.
Do you know that you are like, ah, shit, I have to initiate this like more?
Yeah, I think about it sometimes, especially when I'm in settings like where I have to. I sort of have to not build up courage, but sort of tell myself like it's gonna be a little uncomfortable for a while, but just kind of have to do it.
Yeah, I would think that's one of those things that you're negotiating every day, right?
Right.
Bro, how about you, man? What a question like. What's like something that people say or do that is most uncomfortable for you?
I would say when people try to talk for me in like a group setting, like if I'm talking to you one-on-one and you want to help me out, I'm fine with that. But if we're in like a big group and you try to like be the hero and swoop in and save me, like I don't like that very much. I'd rather you just not do that. Like that kind of makes me uncomfortable.
Just take all the time in the world. Like it's
Yeah.
Like earlier, you were telling the story of the sub. And you're like, yes, she was standing behind the what's the thing, and I'm like, counter.
That's because I have a bad habit where I can tell if I'm going to stutter.
Yep.
So sometimes I'll be like, oh, what's the word, even though I know it.
But that's okay because I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to help you remember a word, not say the word, right? So
Yeah.
That's not what.
I try to kind of to avoid it, and which I shouldn't do. But
Do you try to? By the way, if you have questions for him, by the way, jump in. Are there certain words you try to avoid?
oh yeah. There's certain
what
words
are your
that
bad
I've
words?
learned I can't do. Like so there are certain situations where my speech is worse. For example, if I'm reading out loud and I can't choose my own words, train wreck. If I have to ask for like permission or something, or like if I have to ask to be able to, you know what I mean? It's worse there too. So like in school, I would learn. I learned that if I have to use the bathroom, I can't say can I. I have to say may I, because if I say can, it's dicey. Things might get bad. I got laughed out of the room one time because I tried to say can and it didn't work out for me.
Back in like grade school or something?
Yeah, I mean, they're my friends, so it was
Yeah.
fine.
Listen, man, I'm imagining being your friend in like fourth grade, fifth grade, and I'm imagining me, like I'm your close friend, and I imagine me learning all the words you can't say or you struggle the most saying, and then I would just want to try to get you to say, that's what we would do.
Well, my friends were the worst. Like during popcorn reading in English, they would wait for the biggest paragraphs and then call on me.
Yeah. Dude.
It's brutal. But I mean, it's I I laugh about it. Like it's fine. There have been and there are times where it's genuinely funny. Like I told this story last year, but I work at Dairy Queen, and I was on the register, which I should know better. But it was a bad day where I was working long hours. I was tired. I didn't sleep much. I had a cold. All those things make it worse too. Like if I have like sinuses or something, it's all kind of connected. But this guy ordered something, and I was trying to tell him his price, and it was $7.14. So I tried it, and I went, "All right, your total is," and he goes, "Oh, bless you," because he thought I sneezed. So I just had to be like, "Oh, thank you. You can put your card in now." Like I didn't.
Yeah.
Like it's funny at times. So like I'll laugh at it, but you know, what was the question again?
No, that was good. Yeah, that was good. It's just talking about your friends. Bro, okay, so Akshay, so when people are genuinely curious, right? Or hang on, I want to ask a slightly different one. There's the discomfort, you kind of talked about this a little bit, other people's discomfort and your discomfort. So I would imagine you have a deep depth of understanding of your layers of discomfort. Like you just know, man, you're living in your. How do you manage other people's discomfort and yours? Like how oftentimes do you go out of your way or do something to make other people more comfortable? Like we gave the example of handshakes or something.
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say sometimes like I'm so cognizant of other people's discomfort that whether or not it creates any discomfort for me, I just like to avoid the situation altogether. Like I know I mentioned sometimes I'll just sort of shake hands with someone and take it, but more of like I think fist bumps are like a lot easier, or just saying hi to someone and not like greeting them that way, I think is a lot easier. I think it saves me the discomfort, but then I know it's going to be more awkward for the other person almost every other time. So it's just like, let's both kind of just skip this like 10 seconds of whatever it might be and just move forward.
Uh-huh. Dude, that's cool, right? I mean, it's like, let's just skip it. So you're constantly managing other people's emotions and thoughts and feelings, right? I mean, which in the end reflect back on you, right? So if you and I are interacting and I'm uncomfortable, well, then you got to deal with my discomfort, right? So
Yeah.
then it's in your interest to get me to feel comfortable, like whatever you know that I need to feel comfortable. Like if we haven't shaken hands yet and you're not like, all right, this guy is trying to shake my hand, just do something. So what you're saying is you're going to take that initiative.
Right. And I think it helps too, like taking that initiative. I feel like over the last couple of years, especially being in college, taking that initiative and just learning to embrace it, I've become a lot more confident and well-spoken, just learning how to start conversations with people and sort of dictating my own terms. I think it's helped a lot.
Dude, you really, like the way you speak, I mean, you're really super, yeah, like very direct and very, yeah. Very confident, clearly.
Thank you.
Same.
Same with you, dude. No, the fact that you, that was a Blake joke, right? No, listen, but same with you, like to get up here and have the conversation, right? This is huge. Does anybody else in class, by the way? I always have a couple students in class who have a stutter. Does anyone have that? Just like they would say like they want to participate? Sometimes there are people who are in class and they're like, oh, I wish I would have come up, or I wish there would have been an opportunity for me to come up. So do you see yourself as like when you initiate, by the way, we're going to, in 1 second, when you initiate, you're like, okay, man, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going all in, right? Like talking in here. Do you feel a sense of confidence just because you're doing it? Or how much is that built on confidence?
This is different for me because I'm talking about having a stutter, so I don't have to hide it.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the vast majority of my stuttering isn't actually heard. It's me trying to kind of dictate what words I can and can't get away with. And like I mentioned earlier, I can usually tell when it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like a sneeze where like, you know, like you feel it coming before you actually sneeze. I can usually tell. So then I can kind of back out and change the word, and like the person I'm talking to has no idea that like I'm doing mental gymnastics just to hold a conversation with them, and they can't even tell.
Mm-hmm. So when you're talking, like in a room like this, when you are trying to get a word out, and you're a couple times here, like you really struggle. In a room like this, you can't feel the energy. But if there were just a few people, would you be able to feel people tense up?
Yeah. Right now I'm taking CAS 100, which is nightmare of a class.
Dude, if you're online, that's the speech class. You have to give public speeches.
Yeah. And it's a room of like 20 people or so. And every time I give a speech, it ends up being like, you know, twice as long as the rest of them because it kind of gets dragged out. But I can always kind of tell everyone is kind of like in their chairs, like, you know, just kind of like they feel bad for me, but you know, I've been doing this long enough that, you know, it's fine. Plus, like right now, I'm just having a conversation, it's not that bad. But if I'm giving a speech, it's like every other word. Like I can barely even get my sentences out.
And so here, like the purpose of this class is just going to make things more relaxed here. And if you feel like it's more relaxed, then that must relax you. So same with you, right? Like how is that? Hang on, we're going to take a question from the stream actually. Did you do speech pathology as a child, right? Did you?
So my stutter is is hereditary. That's a better word. So my dad stutters, my uncle, my sister. We think my niece might. It's a little bit too young to tell yet, but it runs in the family. So my dad is 65 now, and he's spent like his whole life learning how to deal with it, and he kind of helped me out a lot as a kid. So I went to speech therapy for like, it wasn't even a year. I chose to whenever I was like, I think like 14 or something, because I was getting frustrated with my speech. But they basically gave me like all the same tips and tricks my dad already taught me. And by the way, when I talked last time, I said that my stutter runs in the family. And after I went back to my seat, I was like, man, I killed that speech. I felt great about it. And then I read one of the comments, and it said, wow, I never knew stuttering was contagious. That's so scary. I was like, that's not what I meant. Like, I felt it was really, yeah, like,
dude, I'll step away from you actually.
yeah, I was like, you're probably worried for your safety.
Yeah. Hey, I want to go to the topic of today's class, right? Am I weak? Do you think I'm weak? Okay. How often have the two of you thought about like your own discomfort, like the need to, like, I gotta get through this. Like I gotta work. I gotta deal with my own discomfort here. Like I have this disability that's with me forever. Like I'm gonna have to do something. How often is that in your mind?
I'd say and again, I sort of said this earlier, but I used to think about it a lot more as a kid when you're in a lot more social interactions that can lead to more like blunt or brutal honesty. I don't really think about it anymore. I'd say something I grew up on, like a big thing that my parents would, and I'll preface all this by saying I was really grateful to have like really, really strong support system, whether that was friends or family. But something that I always grew up on was the fact that everyone sort of faces their own challenges. But the way that my parents would always tell me is that some people just deal with problems that are more visible than others, and some you just can't see. So that's like what I always used to try and live by. But yeah, it would be hard. I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it a lot growing up in like middle school, high school, when you're trying to figure out who you are as a person too. But coming into college, I'd say I definitely think about it a lot less. Didn't really think about it at all.
Hey, let me ask you this. So the thing is, did I tell you that, so I was the faculty advisor to the Disabled Student Organization at Rutgers, right?
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah. So what I hear you saying is, look, I know I have this disability. I know I have it, but like, I'm not thinking about it. You're not thinking about it all the time. Like, it's not with you all the time.
Yeah. I think you asked earlier, what kind of questions do you get and stuff?
Yeah.
People ask like, what is it like? And the answer is like, I feel just as normal as everyone else because I don't know what it's like to be quote unquote normal. So the way I experience everything and the way I have to adapt from things like maybe tie my shoes a little bit differently or just like everyday things. You just kind of learn how to figure it out. I know there are instances where, and I'll like backtrack a little. I know there are experiences where sometimes people lose limbs, fingers as such through like injury or accidents. Like I was born with one hand, so everything that I experience from day one is just how everything has to be. So I've never like, when people ask how is it, like I wouldn't be able to tell you how anything different would be.
Yep. Right. It's like, how is it to be 5 feet tall versus 6'6", right? Like you can't. Yeah, I hear that. I think that's a big, so like the question of, so I think the question of, do you think I'm weak is like, it's like the only weakness, but it sounds like there is no weakness even for both of you, right? But it's this idea then, sociologically speaking, there are these external pressures, external factors and forces that are shaping the way you walk through the world. What I'm hearing you both say is, yeah, but we just adapt to it. The world, this is just the normal world for us. And so therefore there's nothing strange about it. There's nothing to be weak about or not weak about. It just is because of normalcy, right? Like you don't have to like practice getting strong or something. Practice going out into the world. It just is. That's what I think that a lot of people don't really understand about disabilities. Because you see, like, are you aware when, I'm going to stay with Akshay for a second. Are you aware when somebody is, like approaching you and they're not like they're not here, they're like here.
Oh yeah, it's like second nature at this point. I can sort of figure it out. And I think I used to grow up and be really self-conscious and aware about it, but I can't, and I shouldn't blame anyone for sort of drawing their attention elsewhere. Because there's like a lot of people have never seen it before. A lot of people have never like met or interacted with someone with a disability. So I learned to sort of embrace it and sort of put myself into the shoes of someone else, where if you were to meet someone that looked a little different than you, it's like human nature to stop and sort of pay attention to it.
So if I engage, okay, so if I engage you, if we just meet, you and I, and and I'm just kind of meeting you, like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? Oh dude, oh your hand, all right, cool, all right, whatever. And I go, how is that for you if someone just immediately just points it out, but then they're just so cool with it that you're just like, okay, that person's got it, they've had something. Like what's the subtlety of that, right?
Yeah, well, like that, like little interaction we just had. I've never faced that before, where someone like walks up to me and immediately points it out.
It never happens since you were a little kid.
Yeah, since I was like a kid, I think people are like, I've just been, I guess, really lucky to interact with just a lot of smart, like kind people, where they're not just gonna immediately point it out. But I've had people that I've been friends with for a while, and then after a while of us being friends, they now feel comfortable to ask questions. I don't think there's any disparity between those two. I think asking right away versus asking when you feel comfortable doesn't change my responses at all. But I think it's nice that people feel like they have to wait a little while, or at least talk to you first before they just point at you and ask a question.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, totally. But then how is it when you're friends with someone? Do you have a question, bro? Okay, I want your question next. Yeah. Wait, does anyone have a question you want to ask? Yep. But is there a way, though, that if someone waits too long before asking you, you're like, dude, you've been holding on to that question for like 8 months? We've known each other 8 months and you didn't ask me before now? Like 8 months would be too long, or doesn't
I don't really care.
Go the opposite direction?
Yeah, I don't think it really matters. I think when someone is conscious enough to think about how you might feel if they ask a question, at that point, however long they wait, I'm always happy to answer.
Yeah, that's cool.
I have a question for Blake. I'm just curious how it's been like learning other languages. Like, I feel like it could go either way. Like, since you're always doing so much, you said mental gymnastics, I feel like it could come easily, but I don't know, maybe you learned Spanish or something else. I'm just curious how
Oh,
that's
it's
been.
terrible. Oh my God. I'm done with Spanish now, thankfully. But it was like the final is an oral exam, and like if I don't even like know the words I'm saying, oh yeah, it's a lot harder for So I can plus Spanish is a pretty like fast-paced language, but yeah,
Especially like
it's
Puerto
definitely
Ricans,
harder.
man.
Yeah, it's definitely harder if I'm trying to learn a new language. Yeah.
So I also had a question for you, Blake. When you read, do you stutter when you read as well?
Well, like
in
when I'm
your head?
thinking.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
Well, I'll I will catch myself like mouthing the words, and like if I do that, I will, and then I'm like, wait, what is wrong with me? Like I can just look at it and then I'm fine. Yeah, no, I don't stutter in my head, just out loud. It's a disconnect between the brain and the parts that make speech happen.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just have a question. Actually, it could be applied to you or both of you. Just anyone can answer. But, you know, being the quote unquote special one or the unique one in the group, have you ever noticed yourself begin to resent the people who are resent norms, resent like the normal folks who view you differently? And if you've ever noticed it, like, how do you deal with it sometimes?
People without disabilities, and like, do you have that resentment or not?
No, I don't think so. And I don't want to speak for both of us, but like I said, I'm a very firm believer in the idea that everyone faces some sort of challenge, whether that's a disability, whether that's something with income, family life,
Yeah.
mental health. I think everyone
Yeah.
faces their own issues.
Yeah.
I'm pretty fortunate to like have a good support system, like I've already said, like with good friends and family. I've had a pretty good childhood. Just like I'm actually more so thankful that this is like the really only like quote unquote obstacle that I have to go through.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I agree. Like I've always kind of I've always understood that this is a pretty minor inconvenience compared to like what like other people deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a disability, but I don't feel disabled. Like I feel like I can still manage just fine. But I mean, I don't resent other people, but I mean, I'm kind of jealous of people that can just like, you know, walk up and make a good first impression. Where, you know, like when I first meet someone, I don't want that to like be the first thing they think of about me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very cautious with that. Like I've made friends that like didn't even know I stuttered until like a month into knowing me, because I was like really trying to hide it the whole time.
Dude, thanks, gentlemen. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah.